So, Mike, what do you think's next for the used car market and used car prices?
The new and used car market actually is there's a lot of flux out there in the marketplace at the moment in terms of what the future is going to hold, and it's very difficult. It's probably the worst time to have a crystal ball and to try and gaze into the future, because we still have a shortage of new cars that still hasn't caught up with itself, and many people predict that that's going to continue into the future. That meant that used car dealers have had to step up and supply that used car network with more and more quality used cars, and that has raised used car prices. And I have a feeling that that's going to continue. I certainly see it at my dealers, at Mike Brewer Motors and One Automotive, my other dealership in Warwick. Used car prices, I'm having to pay in a lot of respects well over retail to just put cars in stock, and once they are in stock, they're selling quite quickly, and it doesn't matter what you market that car for. It could be 2 or 3 grand over retail, because there is a shortage of stock. People are still buying cars. I think the market will continue to just be at this level now for the next year. There is a cost of living crisis that doesn't seem to wane at the moment. Interest rates were announced today that they're going to stay at the same level, so they're not dropping off. The inflation, it hasn't dropped off to where our Prime Minister expects it to get it down to 5% this year. That's not happening. So people are still struggling, and when people struggle, prices are just going to struggle as well. We also have, and let's not forget this, we also have the demand that comes outside of the Greater London area, and it spreads across the country, and that's the Ulez problem. So because of Ulez and what it's done for the centre of London, it's meant that all the dealers on the fringes of London have had their used car stock exhausted. If it's a Ulez compliant car or van, it's been exhausted, and now Ulez customers are looking further afield, and I'm certainly feeling that all the way up in Sheffield. We're feeling that customers are coming out of London to try and get their used car stock elsewhere, because all the dealers in London have been exhausted of stock. So it's a really difficult time, as I say, to have a crystal ball in the marketplace at the moment. I think for used car dealers, all they can do is continue to buy good quality cars, good quality stock, and do the business that they've been doing, and try and just ride this wave, this wave that they're on. Try and ride it the best they can, because at some point, inevitably, like all these things, there's going to be a crash at the end of it, and they want to make sure that they can cope with that.
What are your thoughts on Ulez, Mike? It's caused a real upset in the market, hasn't it? I mean, there's a lot of dealers have been telling us they don't want to take in non-Ulez compliant cars. And it's really changed the dynamics. What are your thoughts on Ulez?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of trains of thought. I've listened to some scientific reports that are from really good scientists that say it's not going to make a difference to the quality of air in London. It's very, very negligible. But there's other scientists out there that say, no, it does make a difference to the quality of air. So, I don't think we as the public get the truth, get the real information. I think as a car user and as car users, we always feel that, when the government needs money, they turn to the cars. They turn to us car users and vehicle users, because it's an easy way to get tax as quickly as they possibly can. Just, tax the car users. They've got a car. They need to use it for work. They have no choice. Just tax them on it. I think Ulez has some benefits, particularly in inner city areas. It worked, in the centre of London, it worked, and it did. And so they say it did make an improvement. But, there's this thing called wind that blows continuously through the country. And I don't know how the winds can choose an area not to blow in to blow the pollution away. I don't know quite how that works, or how the politicians can measure that. So I think, the science is up in the air. What I will say is that I am not a believer that it is for the greater good. I do see it as a tax on motorists. I see it as an easy way to get us to not only change our cars and keep the economy moving by slushing cars around in the system, it's also a way to tax the poor people that can't afford those better cars, and to get those people to pay more. It's the equivalent of putting... I think Ulez is the equivalent of putting a casino in London, because if you go into a casino, it's just full of, poor paid workers putting their money in a slot machine, hoping to win it big one day. And that's exactly how I see Ulez. It's just a tax on the poor.